Oh, Vishnu, what is the esoteric significance of Christ called the Son of Man?
The Son of Man, or your anointed one, is one that possesses a very delicate vibration. It is like the fragrance of the flower that cannot be seen, but can be felt as it is inhaled within the nostrils of the spiritual center. The anointed one is not a begotten son, but one who freely gave from the higher ring of life a permission granted by all of the vibrations that an endeavor be made to save man from the very negative way into which he had sent himself. And it was expressed and is still expressed throughout all of your writings of earth, and through even your own inner voice that speaks with a silence but with a conviction and tells you of that true way of life that is expressed in a simplification that is oversimplified, that gives defeat to man.
Oh, Vishnu, is it correct to say that each individual spirit starts as a thought on the seventh ring of expression, or in the mind of God, but must be developed in the physical plane of existence?
Each form of life was developed upon the seventh ring of all progressions within the Vishnu, Krishna, all of these various entities that you understand and know. But all, and I mean all, were a oneness in the long, long ago. I say long ago, for the world is older than mankind has even dared to place the figure of what he knows to be old. All were in the oneness of all pure energy. And yet, as time came by, as man saw an expression to life that he wanted to call an individuality, was freely given the right toward that expression. And it was good, it was understood, and yet man defeated it when he found a world that was of beauty, not beauty of a material substance, but the beauty of vibration that flowed over the earth's surface. Yet he lost that beauty and looked upon it as a sordid condition, and became grasping for more beyond the call of what was needed from the spiritual house. Thus man sent up his individuality, and he rejected his given right to enter within any ring at any moment. And until that moment comes when man can unite again in a oneness, he will find himself suffered within his own defeat. It is found that we are blamed for the constant mistakes within your world. But it is wrong, for the world looks upon a negative condition and is not in consistency a true pathway to that peace, that freedom, and the true precepts of your own code that was laid down by men who were not only spiritual, but understood the perfection of all law.
Oh, Vishnu, I did not understand your answer to my question as to how spirit guides or guardians are acquired by a person.
They were never needed until man became so greedy and grasping for more than he could have. This was when there became an interest and self-sacrifice made by many spirit entities for the purpose of giving guidance to that vibration of love that still lived within a physical house. This is the same as you find upon earth, where each gives a constant love to another and still makes self-sacrifices within the world in order to give more to that which they had and found they were denied.
Vishnu, why are the angels seen and pictured with wings?
This is only because it wants to be placed within an emotional pattern that angels or vibrations have wings, but they are invisible. But it is only an expression of your life that shows the angelic hosts as being quite capable of flying. But it is a thought wing and not a wing of material substance.
Oh, yes. Vishnu, what are the 7 judgments that you mentioned?
The 7 judgments of all mankind are brought about not in a judgment, but in an understanding of the negative and the positive conditions that now are upon the earth and have been for eons of time. The 7 judgments are like the 7 sins that you constantly think about and know in your own limitation. But there is no sin. There is only a constant growth, and it is through the eras of imperfection, of unemotional balance, that causes man not to see the fullness of the true word of love.
Vishnu, is there a correlation between sound and will at all levels of the progressions?
There is a constant sound, there is a constant will, but each has its own frequency of vibration. Each has its own way of expression, and this, of course, must be in accordance with what a person is thinking and how perceptive or how aware they are of their constant way of life.
Vishnu, is it true that in the astral plane or first progression, spirits learn or experience many times, perhaps 50 times faster than here on earth?
This is untrue, in that there are still limitations placed upon the spirit by the thought force that was generated throughout the life of that individual. There are many that enter within another frequency of life that do not realize they have made a transition into another frequency. And it is still, I must impress upon you, it is still the same there as it is on your earth. It is still the way of the earth method that is found within the astral. And you must understand that any question can find a relationship within the vibration in which you animate at this time.
Vishnu, how does a spirit design a life to come?
It is through his free expression of thought, and it is according to his growth. It is also imperative that he understand and express the true meaning of a spiritual love, a true meaning of a word compassion, where all is treated with a balance within themselves, where they in the physical can constantly find an evenness of purpose and not allow a negative condition to ever enter into the mind. For here is the defeat of mankind. It is a constant positive flow of love, of compassion, balance, and growth. And here again, we repeat not only what has been said many times, but what we have found to be true within the immutable laws of all life.
Vishnu, what is the main difference in the second progression from the conditions on the first one?
The second progression from the astral into that beam of love light, let us call it a love light, is where the spirit sees suddenly a ray of light that shines through the murky vibration. here progresses toward that light and starts a growth within the progressions on the other side, same as it is in the physical, where gradually through the thought process you are enlightened and understand. And this is where also your growth in the physical is balanced on the spirit.
Oh, Vishnu, you have said each star is a brother. Would you explain how stars exert their influence?
Each star is a vibrational pattern within itself. Each communicates with the other, for each is an earth within itself. And beyond all of these stars, there is another intelligence that lives within a higher form. Here is where they have willingly found an understanding of the celestial home. And here is where all stars that shine upon the firmament of this earth is expressed throughout all of the galaxies. And there is not a limitation to not only the reflection of the earth upon the light of the star, but the vibrational patterns that are caused by the thoughts of mankind.
Oh, well, Vishnu, how does the human spirit protect itself from harm?
It need not worry concerning being harmed by anything or anyone if it flows within a consistent pattern of love and compassion. For here you see with your questions, we still can refer backward to all of the laws that have been expressed that are fixed within all the universe.
Yes. Well, why must each spirit grow?
For it is his attainment to know and to understand the law that was given by the Anointed One. When mankind can learn to live with a love that is true for all of the forces, all the laws, when man can live in a true brotherhood of love and expression, then, only then, will he understand what is meant when it has been said from the millions of earth years that man must love that compassion, that love with all his capabilities, and not deny that which is real within the unreal or unseen realm.
Oh, Vishnu, what is the pleroma?
This is a vibration within itself, and it is transgressing a considerable misunderstanding within your world. But if we speak of this, we are in defeat, for we are not expressing a truth, for it has now upon it a limitation that is not found within the seven laws.
Oh, I see. Well, Vishnu, in what way is the spirit of Yuktesvar related to Benny's spirit and role?
It is from the long ago where it is a regeneration or a reincarnation process through her own individuality. But she has placed upon it a limitation of purpose and dares not to cross that bridge of perfect understanding within the spiritual conceptions of all life. This shall come about gradually as she is moved within a new vibration and thus give her a fuller picture. She sees it as a dark cloud, and yet once on occasions there is a light that shows through, and she has felt a magnitude beyond her own spiritual understanding. And this will enter within a perfect pattern and give her the true meaning of what her expression of the spirit should be at this time.
I see. Vishnu, in view of Mrs. Earl Stanley Gardner objected very much to our publishing the final statement we received from her husband, from Spirit. And I wonder, in view of this, is it right and wise for us to publish that statement in our book?
It is right to publish any condition that will perhaps enlighten some spirit that needs only one question answered or one thought projected toward them. And you will find gradually, as this lady in question will have her own expression from the Spirit, then she will consent even more readily. But now there is the moment of fear, and overcome by material considerations, that if once they were dropped, she would not be having the problems which exist within her today.
Oh, I see. Vishnu, what are the most desirable male qualities?
The most desirable male qualities is to love and protect. Protect the force of the woman. That is the helpmate. That is the one that gives the balance of the true vibration and gives a constant positive reaction. However, man constantly is not satisfied within his thinking to bring forth a fuller spiritual understanding of what a mating of vibration is. And if there would be only a waiting time, then man could come into what is known as a soul mate condition and relive all lives previously and understand why they are together in this life. However, your world of publication has defeated this process, for it looms before mankind the mysteries of sexual desires, of constant satisfying ways of the reproduction cycle. And this is the only thought expressed by many. And it is good only when it becomes a spiritual condition and not just a very rude, negative way that is only a very small portion of the life in which you live.
Well, Vishnu, is it true, especially in America, that women have lost their sense of their true role in relationship to man?
They have lost their role, but they have not been able either to have it fulfilled by the masculinity. It has been denied them to have a full expression of love, for man does not know how to give it in this masculinity that is desired by their vibration. And it is well that they go together in all avenues, whether it be a material endeavor or a spiritual one.
Oh, thank you, Vishnu. Is there a new kind of or level of spirits now being incarnated? And if so, in what part of the world?
They are being incarnated in every nook and cranny of this world. And you will find they are more aware, they are more perceptive, and they are more understanding. Not from so much the communication level, but they have been entered into spirit in an untimely condition, and through thought desire want more expression of life, and resent that their life was snuffed out by a political machine that cannot understand the full factual spiritual laws. And in this moment, as they are coming into a new spiritual society, they will gradually build it into a oneness of spiritual purpose and not one of a material negativity.
Are you referring, Vishnu, to those who were killed in the Great Wars, Second World War?
Not only those, but place not a limitation upon life, but rather those that have taken their own lives and have been murdered or brought into spirit before the karmic debt had been paid.
Oh, I see. Well, Vishnu, should the youth of America fully use the methods of nonviolent resistance taught by Mahatma Gandhi?
The nonviolence is the only way. And in that nonviolence, they only must understand that they can have the spiritual society to which they can see in a spiritual way if they would but pressure their thoughts into the purer channels of the laws that have been expressed. It shall come to pass that violence will not be within the universe, for non-violence gradually will overcome the constant violence that man is creating within the world, but he is also creating it within the chemical structure that he is short-circuiting in his constant abuse and misunderstanding of the chemical process of all life.
Oh, Vishnu, it would be very helpful to me to know how many Earth years before Christ I entered my first incarnation in my present course.
It was many years or many vibrations before you even entered into the vibration of your own individuality. For you circled upon the rings for many vibrations, and it has been through an intense desire of expression that you have entered within the psychokarma. For we must have a perfect balance where the ideas of materiality are lessened and you come into a true spiritual endeavor, which you are seeing and hearing now and have felt within the bosom of nature.
Yes, but I remember you said last time that I had 32 incarnations in this present course, and what I wondered was how many years ago in Earth years, that first one of those 32 incarnations, when did this begin?
This took place within the vibration, and figures that you seek are the ones of a 10,000-year period. There has been many shifts within this 32, and as you dwell upon it within your own thought force, you will see where each one, as you gradually see it, will give you the whole and perfect understanding that you seek.
I see. Vishnu, is there any truth in the legend of Atlantis, as it was written by Plato?
There is not only the lost continents of Atlantis and Lemuria, there are many that have sunk below the surface of the ocean. And gradually you will see where they will surface and become islands within islands. And yet this land must be needed for the forthcoming regeneration of all spiritual ideas, and goes beyond right now the magnitude of what man can possibly think. But it grows slowly and grinds itself exceedingly fine.
Oh, Vishnu, what is the esoteric significance of the cross?
The cross exemplifies the trinity of all expression. The top is the compassion. The left side of the cross is love, and the third is the balance. And under the bottom of the cross is the true picture of growth.
Oh, Vishnu, thank you. Vishnu, who built the Y Cavern at Mystery Hill in North Salem, New Hampshire?
This I cannot answer from a material standpoint, for it is not in my visual picture to give you a finite answer to these questions that are not indeed needed for the process of mankind.
What could I do to help express in group activity with different levels involved? There's a complication of different levels not meshing together. What can I do to be a center for people to be balanced with?
By your constant growth that is now in process, through that power of love, and yet the complication is only the intensification of your want to see a true growth. And this shall come into a very true balance, but you are impatient to wait until that vibration is right, whereby each will be able to perceive and know what his discipleship should be.
Vishnu, would you express your force a bit more so that we might understand the Vishnu Force in correspondence to everyday oneness of love here? Express this to us.
The Vishnu Force will invade that premise on which you now live and also work in your endeavor. And you will see a very good change that will take place in the forces of vibration that will bring this balance about. However, this vibration is not in its fullness, but will come about when you have made your commitment to a physical expression.
I see. Vishnu, did the Tibetan masters actually possess the claimed power to dematerialize and transport the physical body at will?
They were unlimited in their endeavor to work within all fields of vibration. for they were simple within their life expression and knew that the gross material was only a vibratory force that they used while they were to be seen upon the face of the earth.
Oh, well, Vishnu, what kind of, how much contribution, or what was the type of contribution that Karl Marx actually made to the growth of the human?
It was a good growth that started on a positive way, but it became negative in the process of allowing the materiality to come into the idea of what was wanted to be expressed. But it too has a meaning within the growth of all life, and it too will gradually come into a better conception than it has at the present moment.
I see. Various entities have predicted a great change in Russia, a change of government and a more humane society. Could you tell me when in the Earth years, how long it will take for this to happen?
They are coming into a new spiritual conception and idea for the masses of people, the simple people, the ones that look to the forces for understanding, are being enlightened too in a spiritual way. And this shall happen within just a few years. And then they will overcome the canopy of light and bring about a true brotherhood throughout all universals.
I see. Vishnu, in regard to the musician Beethoven, what progression is he now existing upon?
You will find that all of the musical backgrounds of those that are here in spirit are operating in and from the fourth progression.
Oh, I see. Could you give me the name, the unknown person who wrote the sonnets that we attribute to William Shakespeare?
They were written by a man that was his writer, but only remained within the background of life. And his name was Thackeray.
Thackeray?
At that time, not the Thackeray you realize within your vibration, but the one that was like a mystery writer, and the credit goes to this Thackeray and not to the fullness of Shakespeare.
You mean that this was an earlier incarnation of the writer Thackeray, of later times?
No, it was separate from that, but it is not found within the history of your world. But I believe within the consistency of his writings, you will notice a quality where what you would term or call a ghost writer.
I see. Well, Vishnu, are there in fact giants called Bigfoot or Sasquatch in California or Canada in the physical body? And are they psychically protected?
They are psychically protected, but it is a giant vibration and not one that is of a material understanding.
Or you mean these Sasquatch are not actually physical animals like us?
No, they are of a visible nature upon the visible screen of one who has reached a spiritual wisdom, but they are not a factual material substance.
Oh. You spoke, Vishnu, of the future uses of television to see and communicate with those in spirit. Now, what exact step could I take to help bring that to pass?
It will not be an electronic understanding. It will be an increase in the pressure of vibration, that where the energy of the world will be shut off and the energy of spirit shall place itself upon the screen of this instrument.
Oh, well, Vishnu, what is a poltergeist?
A poltergeist, as you know it, is one that is fixed within the vibrational force of the astral plane, that has gone unto death in a violent way, or resents going unto the transition, and tries to come back and still possess the material things that they have, and will not allow anyone to touch them, or they set up a violent vibration that will bring about harm to those who allow it to be played with as a game, but they too are limited by their own growth, and they must be helped away from that condition through the understanding thought process of those who love.
I see. Vishnu, does the phenomenon of the werewolf actually exist, and if so, how is it created?
Only through the spiritual interpretation of one that is capable of seeing and understanding. But these are more of a myth than they are actual within the physical vibration.
Oh, I see. Well, what progression now is my friend and helper Nicodemus?
He is out upon the 6th progression and has a great wisdom and understanding. And there will be communication with him in a forthcoming period.
Good. How does the faculty of psychometry work?
It is a principle where all vibrations operating within all the 7 laws through the ability of touching that envelope or that paper brings about a reaction not to one vibration but to the whole of all of the laws, thus enabling the perception of the clairvoyant or the spiritual mind to encompass the fullness of understanding and thus give a very true factual account of the spiritual vibration. Factual not in the material, but in the spiritual.
I see. Vishnu, we've had an entity touch in here, an Indian white cloud, and we wonder what progression he comes from.
This is only upon the 2nd and is an unseen helper to the instrument of which I am now using.
Oh, I see. Now, you spoke of the Pharaoh Akhenaten of Egypt, a religious leader, and I wonder, but I didn't understand what you said about him, about the message that he was seeking to bring to the world.
He was seeking to bring a better understanding of spiritual law, and he had a great perception within these laws, and he was defeated only in the process of those that could not understand his way of expression of these spiritual laws, and thus made misconceptions that brought about changes within not only the spiritual structure of Egypt, but also within the thoughts of many people.
Oh, I know. What is the Temple of Disciples?
The Temple of Disciples is still within the 5th progression of life. It is those men that are still in the discipleship with the Anointed One. However, they are reincarnated, yet reincarnated with a free will to express on the material or on the spiritual. They live within a canopy of light called a temple of love. And it is through their consistent pattern of projecting the words of Jesus or of the Christ anointed that they bring forth a new way of life and allow you to look and to see this temple in its full magnificence.
What is the meaning of the 6th progression? And that what would be the relay of the 6th progression?
It is only the preparatory school for one who is entering within a constant mastership that is within the 7th progression. It is when there comes a fuller realization of all universal structure that encompasses all of eternity.
How should I deal with the excess I feel after expressing from this force? How should I express this excess? What would be a way in which it wouldn't affect others in a negative manner?
It will find gradually this power or this change will come about that will give you a truer and better understanding of why this condition exists. And it is not yet the moment when this shall be relieved of your spirit, for it is necessary for the growth of others.
I see. Vishnu, what is the origin and nature of the so-called instincts that we see the animals have?
These are fixed vibrations within the laws of nature, and these laws are not understood. But an animal does not have a way of analyzing. They only lived by the constant vibration that is coming in according to the frequency upon which they are.
Oh, I see. Well, now you spoke of, I asked you about the work of Arthur Young's concepts about the first cause. And you said that this was quite true, but that his thought was limited because it defeated because it limited itself. Now, he suggests that there are 4 elements in the process of expression. The first cause, represented by fire, the raw material of energy, represented by water, the formative thought or concept, represented by air, and the final result of the process of creation, represented by earth. And he believes this to be the ancient system of all thought. Is he correct? Gone. He's gone.
As soon as he left, I know he left. As soon as he left, I got a big prick, my spine right in the back.
Yeah?
Before you started the question, he left.